honor and a responsibility I hold in high esteem to appear before the people of Ghana to present the performance report of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as part of the government's laudable initiative, the Government Accountability Series. This platform reflects the vision of our President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to embed transparency, accountability, and participatory governance into every fiber of public service. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which I am profoundly honored to lead, derives its core mandate from Chapter 6, Articles 40, 73 to 75 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. We serve as the principal institution responsible for the formulation, execution, and coordination of Ghana's foreign policy. To achieve this, our operations are implemented through a robust and dynamic institutional structure comprising 27 functional bureaux and specialized units at the ministry's headquarters in Accra, including the Accra International Conference Center, the Passport Office, the Foreign Service Institute, and the Edu Lodge. We are also an international conglomerate. We operate through a network of 62 diplomatic missions and 10 consulates general, spread across strategic countries and regions around the globe. We also provide policy direction and oversight for 3 key subvented institutions: the All Africa Students Union, the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy, LESIAD, and the National African Peer Review Mechanism, NAPRM, Governing Council. Since assuming office on the 7th of February 2025, I have been guided by a transformative vision of diplomacy that is driven by the national interests, people-centered, development-oriented, grounded in integrity, and anchored on tangible outcomes. We have been committed to making the ministry more responsive to the needs of Ghanaians, more accountable in the use of public resources, and more effective in advancing Ghana's global interests. On my first day in office, I inaugurated 2 major reform committees, the first being the Passport Reforms Committee, which was tasked with conducting a comprehensive review of the existing passport application system. This committee's mandate included identifying bottlenecks, improving operational efficiency, reducing turnaround time, and enhancing the integrity and security of our travel document in accordance with international best practices. The second committee was on the welfare of Ghanaians. I inaugurated the committee on the same day I inaugurated the Passport Reforms Committee. It is known as the Committee on Migration and the Welfare of Ghanaians Abroad. They developed far-reaching framework to address the protection, rights, and development-oriented engagements of the Ghanaians in the diaspora. The goal was to create sustainable pathways for diaspora investment, welfare interventions, particularly during crisis, and to strengthen institutional mechanisms that support our citizens abroad. In response to international crisis, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has demonstrated both agility and commitment to the protection of Ghanaian citizens abroad. In this vein, I wish to express government's deep concern over the recent unfortunate clashes in Gbinyiri in the Savannah region of Ghana near the borders with neighboring Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso, resulting in the loss of lives and displacement of Ghanaians in both countries. I promptly directed Ghana's embassies in Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso to actively collaborate with Ivorian and Burkinabe authorities to ramp up necessary consular assistance to our compatriots. In addition, I have personally been to Côte d'Ivoire since Friday, the 12th of September 2025. Indeed, I'm returning to Accra only this morning. During my 3-day working visit, I held discussions with my Ivorian counterpart, His Excellency Kaku Huaja Leon Adum, about the displaced Ghanaians in Côte d'Ivoire. After the talks, I led a team to the Bukani region, where some 13,253 displaced compatriots originally sought refuge. My visit was aimed at conveying a special message from President John Dramani Mahama to conduct further assessment of the situation for additional consular assistance, to express Ghana's gratitude to our Ivorian counterparts, and to offer immediate assistance. During my visit, I discovered that about 8,000 Ghanaians have safely returned home. The latest census conducted revealed that the remaining number of Ghanaians in Côte d'Ivoire is 5,309. 5,309. no more 13,253. I delivered a special message from President Mahama, which was a message of peace and forgiveness, and a message appealing to all our compatriots to return home, since government has beefed up security and ensured that normalcy is restored. On behalf of President Mahama, I donated 6 million CFA to cover urgent humanitarian needs and to facilitate logistical requirements for their safe return home. This donation is distinct from other relief items, including food, water, blankets, and medicines already provided through NADMO. I have also engaged my Burkinabe counterpart, His Excellency Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré, on the welfare of our displaced compatriots, who are about 1,455, a reduction from the tally of 2,500 refugees during the peak of the conflict. In the Kwera area within the southwestern region of Burkina Faso, it is worth mentioning that the Foreign Minister of Burkina Faso has expressed pleasant satisfaction at the trend of Ghanaian refugees returning home. My ministry remains steadfast in its commitment to protecting the welfare of Ghanaian citizens abroad. It will continue to work assiduously with the support of the appropriate Ghanaian authorities, as well as the Ivorian and Burkinabe authorities, to provide the necessary assistance to our displaced compatriots. No Ghanaian in distress anywhere in the world will be ignored by the Mahama administration. While thanking the government and peoples of Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso, it is worth emphasizing that this episode reminds us to always be embracing and welcoming of our African compatriots. As I was reminded by my colleague foreign ministers, they were keen to stress that Ghana has always provided a safe haven to refugees from Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso, Liberia, Niger, and many other countries, as you all do know. So as they indicated, they are more than happy to return the favor, even if on a much smaller scale. Long live African solidarity. Ladies and gentlemen, similarly, during the recent escalation of hostilities between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the State of Israel, the ministry undertook swift and coordinated diplomatic and logistical interventions to ensure the safety of Ghanaian nationals in the affected region. These efforts culminated in the successful evacuation of 17 citizens, underscoring our unwavering dedication to safeguarding the welfare of Ghanaians, irrespective of their location. This operation is another testament of our capacity for rapid response in times of global uncertainty. It reinforces the importance of maintaining strong diplomatic networks and proactive contingency planning through our missions. I can announce that after 3 months of closure of our embassy in Iran, we shall fully reopen tomorrow, the 16th of September, 2025. Measures have been put in place to guarantee the safety of our diplomatic staff. The ministry remains vigilant in monitoring international developments and stands prepared to act decisively whenever the safety and security of Ghanaian citizens and our foreign service officials are at stake. Still on the subject of the welfare of Ghanaians, we have expanded our focus and are paying special attention to our students studying abroad. As part of a broad diaspora engagement strategy, the ministry has initiated the establishment of student help desks within 11 of our diplomatic missions where student populations are the highest. These desks are equipped to support Ghanaian students with emergency aid and guidance on immigration and other critical matters. This initiative has been implemented without the recruitment of new staff or incurring additional costs, as the desks are manned by reassigned consular staff and will be scaled up to cover all missions in subsequent phases. In line with Ghana's long-standing commitment to Pan-Africanism and regional solidarity, the ministry has actively pursued educational diplomacy. I am pleased to announce that in collaboration with key stakeholders, the ministry is facilitating the implementation of 1,000 scholarships for students from the ECOWAS member states to study here in Ghana, as was announced on the 22nd of April 2025 during the launch of the 50th anniversary of ECOWAS by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. To this end, an intersectorial committee has been set up to oversee the implementation of these scholarships. This is positioning our country as a hub of educational diplomacy and soft power. Additionally, the ministry is facilitating educational scholarships from partner countries to qualified Ghanaian citizens. So far, approximately 1,500 scholarships in various fields of study from 15 countries have been negotiated and communicated to relevant institutions. From 1st October 2025, all these scholarships being secured by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will be published on the ministry's website to promote transparency, fairness, and improve accessibility to all. I shall now discuss the deportation of some West African nationals from the United States of America. Media engagement on 10th September 2025, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama confirmed that Ghana has accepted some West African nationals who had been deported from the United States. Providing further elucidation, the President indicated that the US government had approached Ghana with a request to receive some of these individuals, and his administration agreed to do so, provided they were nationals of West African countries. The President disclosed that the first batch of deportees, numbering 14 people, had already arrived in Accra. Among them were nationals of Nigeria and the Gambia, who have been assisted to return to their respective countries. The government of Ghana took the principled and humanitarian decision to accept the limited number of West African nationals deported from the United States under exceptional circumstances, in line with Ghana's long-standing Pan-African ideals and unwavering commitment to regional solidarity. Many of these individuals were being held in detention, which was both psychologically and physically distressing. They were also faced with the risk of being deported to countries that are not safe and do not have the stability and human rights credentials Ghana is famed for. You need to note that President Trump has secured a positive verdict from the US Supreme Court that he could go ahead and remove these nationals and dump them anywhere. As a nation that upholds the dignity and rights of all people, particularly those of African descent, Ghana's action was guided solely by our moral responsibility, our legal obligations under the 1992 Constitution and ECOWAS protocols, our distinguished Pan-African track record, and historic and legendary leadership in championing the rights of all Africans. Let me emphasize that under this understanding with the United States, Ghana must first independently vet the background of those the US intends to deport, to first satisfy ourselves that they do not pose any threat to the security of our country and that they cannot harm our citizens. We have put in place strict safeguards to ensure that convicted, hardened criminals cannot be brought into our country under this understanding. The Mahama administration will never compromise the safety and well-being of Ghanaians. This understanding with the US has been thoroughly discussed by Cabinet and has also received the Attorney General's advice. By established convention, MOUs are not sent to Parliament for ratification. I have inherited hundreds of MOUs from the previous administration, which were not sent to Parliament for ratification. May I assure the nation that if this initial understanding is elevated into a full-blown agreement, we shall not hesitate to comply with Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution by proceeding to Parliament for ratification. President Mahama carried out full disclosure at his media encounter because he's a staunch believer in the principles of transparency and accountability. In addition, he has absolutely nothing to hide on this matter. It is important to stress and to state unequivocally that Ghana has not received and does not seek any financial compensation or material benefit in relation to this understanding. Our decision is grounded purely on humanitarian principle and Pan-African solidarity, to offer temporary refuge where needed, to prevent further human suffering, and to maintain our credibility as a responsible regional actor. Ghana's decision must be understood as an act of Pan-African empathy. It is not transactional. Like Rwanda, Eswatini, Uganda, South Sudan, who are welcoming fellow Africans, we are standing up for our brothers and sisters in distress. And this should not be misconstrued as an endorsement of the immigration policies of the Trump administration. It is worth emphasizing that since the days of our forebears, Ghana has hosted freedom fighters, welcomed all Africans in the diaspora, offered them safe haven, resources, citizenship, and even our passports. That is why we are seen as the Mecca of Pan-Africanism. We shall not depart from that inspiring track record. I shall now discuss passport administration. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that the recent reforms undertaken by my ministry in respect of passport administration have already begun yielding significant results. As part of our digital transformation agenda, the ministry successfully rolled out the chip-embedded passports on the 28th of April 2025, placing Ghana among the African countries to implement this internationally compliant travel document. These next-generation passports boast over 175 advanced security features, up from 32 in the previous version, and meet the highest international standards set by the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. This has drastically improved the credibility and security of Ghanaian travel documents on the global stage. We also enhance our mobile passport application service to support applicants with limited mobility, starting with a specialized deployment to assist this year's Hajj pilgrims, a demonstration of our commitment to inclusive service delivery. To further ease the process of obtaining a passport, we launched a passport home delivery system in partnership with 2 courier companies. I had the honor of personally delivering the first batch of passports under this service to applicants at their workplaces and homes, symbolizing our new approach of bringing government closer to the people. As of 10 September 2025, a total of 161,824 chip-embedded passports have been printed, of which 122,895 have been successfully delivered to applicants. Our reforms have also addressed the critical issue of delays in the processing of passport applications. Additionally, we have rolled out the 24-hour passport operations, ensuring a shorter turnaround time for passport issuance and delivery within 15 days to any part of the world. Currently, we have 13 passport application centers in 9 regions, with a breakdown as follows: 3 in the Greater Accra region, 2 in the Ashanti region, 2 in the Northern region, 1 in Upper West, 1 in Eastern, 1 in Central, 1 in Volta, 1 in Western, and 1 in the Bono region. Efforts are in place to open 7 additional passport application centers to cover the 6 new regions and Bolgatanga, the capital of the Upper East region. These parks will be opened this year. I am glad to note that the Bolgatanga Passport Application Center will be fully operational next month, October. I know our compatriots in the Upper East have been agitating for this, and I'm glad that next month your suffering will be over. We apologize to you for all the stress and the hassle, but the wait is over. Next month, I will personally be in Bolga to open this new park. The ministry has also received the tenders for the Passport Head Office Annex building project and is currently evaluating them. I'm also pleased to inform this gathering that in keeping our promise, we have submitted proposals to Parliament as contained in the new fees and charges bill for a reduction in passport fees from 500 Ghana cedis to 350 Ghana cedis for the 32-page booklet. It is expected to come into force once Parliament resumes session and passes the new fees and charges bill. Before Parliament went on break, it was late. And you know, for allies, it has to meet a 21-day count. And we couldn't get to 21 days before we took the break. But when we resume, certainly the count will be on. And after 21 days, this will come into force. It's quite miraculous that we are seeing all these reforms, these enhanced services, and yet the fees are going to go down. This is really remarkable. Meanwhile, we are also introducing a same-day passport delivery service for those with emergencies and members of the business community who may require super express service with a shorter turnaround time beyond the expedited service that we already render. And this is also contained in the new fees and charges. So when these new fees and charges matures, you will see that a new service provision will come into force where you can obtain a passport in a day without going through a middleman or a goro boy, as they are infamously called. The era of passport backlogs, I inherited over 70,000 of them, waiting for months before your passport is issued and being exploited by the infamous goro boys, are all behind us now. And we dare say that they are gone for good. Additionally, we have instituted a modernized digital application platform, established a 24-hour customer call center, and streamlined the process flow in partnership with the National Identification Authority. This has enabled real-time cross-verification, thereby reducing fraud and expedited processing. You may also wish to note that the ministry has also introduced in our missions a 5-day visa processing policy, with e-visas to be introduced next year, 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now focus attention on stride. In a significant step toward long-term fiscal prudence and enhanced global representation, Cabinet has approved our strategic transition from renting to infrastructure development, STRIDE. So that is what the STRIDE initiative represents. Strategic transition from renting to infrastructure development, STRIDE. Under this landmark policy, the ministry will progressively reduce its reliance on rented facilities for its missions abroad by acquiring and developing permanent state-owned properties. The STRIDE initiative demonstrates our commitment to sustainable diplomacy, fiscal responsibility, and the dignified presentation of Ghana's image internationally. Ghana cannot continue spending $15 million every year on rent for our diplomatic missions. This cannot be judicious use of taxpayer resources. Our image is not enhanced abroad, and it certainly does not do our foreign service any good. The reset agenda demands that we fix this, and I pledge to you that we shall do just that. Following Cabinet's approval and the President's instruction, a transaction advisor has been appointed by the Finance Ministry, and the Finance Ministry has also initiated the process to engage a consortium of banks that will be responsible for funding the STRIDE initiative in a transparent and competitive manner. So far, we have documentation confirming land donation to Ghana in 23 countries for construction of chanceries and residences. These lands will be fully utilized to save costs and drastically reduce the financial burden of STRIDE. So in 23 countries, we don't have to purchase land. We have donations because of our good bilateral relations with the governments of those countries. And it really cannot be prudent to own lands in these 23 countries and at the same time be renting at really exorbitant costs for all these decades. And the sad part is that some governments are beginning to threaten that they will take their land back if we are not going to make good use of the land. And that is why this STRIDE initiative is so timely and must be supported by all. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, May I use this golden opportunity to announce that the Mahama administration has decided that these new Ghana embassies and high commissions to be constructed across the world must have a standard design which should depict our unique heritage and culture. We are therefore today announcing an open competition which should lead us to select the most iconic, green, and creative architectural design for Ghana House, as they will be known across the world. This competition is open from today, 15th September 2025, to Friday, 14th November 2025. All Ghanaian architects, whether young or old, fresh graduates or legends, you are all free to participate in this competition. It is worth noting that this is obviously a refreshing departure from the recent past. We saw all major national projects being single source for one architect, from National Cathedral, Marine Drive, Agenda 111, Bank of Ghana Head Office, Du Bois Center, New Parliamentary Chamber, Trade Fair redesign, GMPC Head Office, Airport City, and I can go on and on, all going to one architect. That era has ended. There's a new reset. And this is another confirmation that the reset is truly happening. Now I come to oral. As the former chairman of Operation Recover or Loot, oral, which was a cornerstone of President Mahama's campaign and a legitimate popular demand of the Ghanaian people, I can confirm that the principles of oral strongly undergird every decision I take as Minister for Foreign Affairs. Some of our oral successes at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs include: 1, reclaiming all the ministry's land at Airport Residential Area, which had been sold; 2, aborting the illegal sale of our diplomatic property in Lagos, Nigeria, and assisting national security to arrest the prime suspect, one Mr. Bright Mensah Bonsu, who received part payment of $1.5 million, which, by the way, was never paid into any government account. He was on a frolic of his own, not a staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, even though he managed to obtain a diplomatic passport. I am glad to say that oral is working in our ministry. He has been picked up. He is in the firm grips of national security, and that $1.5 million must be returned to the owners. That property is not for sale. 3, we have also reversed the ministry's initial decision to sell our diplomatic property in Lusaka, Zambia. 4, we have made clear that no sale of the ministry's landed properties will be tolerated. Pursuant to that, we have established an asset register to take proper inventory of all our assets. 5, we have cancelled a November 2024 $3.5 million Abidjan Embassy renovation contract, which did not follow due process and was not budgeted for. That transaction has been cancelled. 6, we have also boldly and decisively dealt with the canker of corruption at our Washington, D.C. mission, and we have embarked on systemic overhauls. The details are well known. This became a matter of considerable national discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, to guarantee value for money, transparency, and accountability, no contract has been awarded on a single source basis since I became foreign minister. There is strict instruction to our procurement department to ensure that all procurement is competitive and complies with the Public Procurement Act. From the passport courier companies you are seeing working, it was done competitively. Ticketing is being done competitively. The passport head office project is being done competitively. Even contracts as mundane, you may think, as cleaning contracts, I instructed that it should be done competitively. The purchase of staff buses competitively. Every single contract has gone through a competitive, credible process. Competitive procurement is no longer the exception, is no longer rare. It is now the mainstay. I am able to disclose that Oral does not enjoy only local support. There is overwhelming international support for Oral, which our ministry has been facilitating with other institutions of state. We shall continue with our international collaboration as we support President Mahama and the Attorney General to make Oral succeed. For instance, on President Mahama's recent historic state visit to Singapore, an agreement was reached to support Oral by creating a bilateral framework to build the forensic capacity of Ghana's anti-corruption institutions, including IOCO, SHRAJ, OSP, and the police CID, taking into account Singapore's globally celebrated anti-corruption reputation.